Hello. We all know what breaking a contract means. That is exactly what Indian banks are doing. When you increase the lending rates on a continual basis, and especially after a period of COVID when things went topsy turvy were for most of the citizens. Now, instead of helping them, what you're doing for the existing customers is that you are subjecting them to every month's interest rate hike. Just don't go by what you see on RBI's post that our uh, interest rate, the interest rate that India charges is 6.25 or 6.5%, because that's not what customers, the common man, um, gives for borrowing. What he gives for borrowing is the interest rate that commercial banks charge, and there is no cap to it in India. Many countries have a cap, the maximum limit, and here we don't have it. So, but besides that, it is so exploitative and predatory, and that is one of the most significant reason why India is not progressing as it should. No matter what the PR says, in economic terms, common man is suffering. Of course, there is a good sentiment, there is motivation. Leaders are doing a good job of it, but there are certain areas which are bringing the whole system down, and it is the bank's predatory and exploitative nature is one one that would top the list. So, coming out of COVID times, when people were hit badly, to say the least, they are subjected to continual rise in the interest rates that they give for the loans they had taken prior to the COVID times. Now, on a macro level, what happens that when people cough up their savings to save themselves from being defaulters, or maybe from the fear of being jailed or whatever they are subjected to. By the way, they are subjected to a lot of harassment. There are continuous phone calls from the bank. If even if you are late but for giving your EMI, they start visiting your house as though it is their own house. They tell you that they'll stick some notice on your main door for not paying interest. So this is the kind of compassion that they show. So when these people give away whatever savings they have, what happens? The saving rates in the country, they come down. When the savings rate come down, naturally the investment rate comes down, because in any case the government of the country, whichever party it is, they hardly ever contribute to the saving rates. They are borrowing and borrowing, and they're only creating deficits. All right. So this was one reason. The second reason why it is completely against the very economic logic is that the banks um, raise the interest rate, saying that it is contributing to the inflation, that is price rise. Why do they say that? Because if they give away loans, people spend that money. When they spend that money, they are creating demand, so the supply is falling short, so the prices rise. Because if you are able to pay more, the supply, whatever limited supply, would go to you, not to the people who do not have much money to give for that particular product or service. This is how it works, right? This is price rise. But you're raising price for the existing borrowers. That would mean that money has already been spent in the past. That's old money. It has already been passed. Why are they subjected to such exploitation? Are these people dirts? Why are they in such a mm, important position? Why are they screaming that they are so fair? They are not, they are unfair. Moreover, what is causing inflation in the country? I'm talking of India because that is all I have authority to talk about. Is is that mm inflation in our country is basically caused by crude oil prices, which is close to 110 per liter. Now, if they say, oh, okay, in other countries it is this and that, it really doesn't change the economic position of the uh, of our own country. The biggest distraction that any human has created for himself is to give too much attention to what people are doing around himself. Our destination from the point that we are born is point A to point B. Why do we get distracted and digress is something beyond me? We just simply have to ignore what other co-mates, prisoners, considering life as a life imprisonment sentence, what they are doing is immaterial. They are doing what they are doing. As long as they don't harm you, just don't pay attention to it. So what other countries are going through in terms of crude oil prices is not our concern. Our concern is people who are struggling. Okay, so coming back to the point, so in our country, the real cause of inflation is crude oil prices and the government's revenue deficit. Now, the government creates a budget and it always overspends. It overspends because it gives uh, too much money into the category of revenue expenditure. What is revenue expenditure? Paying salaries to the employees. Now, these employees, they might be good, they might be bad, but there are two observations that I personally have had. A, there are too many of them. They need to be the employee size has to cut. If you go in some government organization uh, like um like housing, urban development or things of I mean offices of such sort, they ask for bribes. I have been subject to that. They would not move the file. They do not, the files are kept in the most staggered fashion. If things are automated, obviously most of them will have to go, because most of the employees, they are not on their seats. They are either having samosa or tea somewhere, or they're gossiping somewhere. So, and the rest of them are asking for bribes. So this is what it is. So the cause, if you are not able to manage your budgets well, why should the normal the common man be subjected to this? So I don't think there will be a change, or not very soon. But be aware, what they are doing is crap. Then that's perhaps the reason that they are not doing much about education. The more you know, the more you understand. So educate yourself. Am I a cause of some education? I don't know. I'm bringing light on things in my own small way. You do the same. Now, talk, if at all, any Hindi speaking person comes on this channel, I must tell you, बैंक्स आपको लूट रहे हैं इतनी बुरी तरह, और आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है, आप सपने में खोए हुए हैं। और क्योंकि सपने में खोना बेस्ट है, डिप्रेशन से ग्रसित होने के बजाय सपनों में खोना बेस्ट है। बेस्ट मतलब बेटर है, बेहतर है। दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि दो चीज़ें जो बहुत गलत हो रही हैं, वो बैंक्स, आपने अगर लोन ले रखा है तो आपकी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ाती जा रही है ऑलमोस्ट हर महीने। कह रही है इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ रहा है, यानी कि प्राइस राइज हो रहा है। लेकिन प्राइस राइज तो तब होता है ना, जब आपने जो पैसा लिया वो आपने खर्च किया, लेकिन आप बहुत पुराने समय में पैसा ले ले चुके हो और खर्च भी कर चुके हो, और आप बहुत रिलीजियसली, बहुत पंक्चुअली अपनी मंथली इंस्टॉलमेंट चुका रहे हो, मोटा सा कोलैटरल दे रखा है आपने, फिर आपसे क्यों वसूला जा रहा है? और वसूला किस बात पे जा रहा है? कि यहाँ पे पैसे की कमी हो रही है। पैसे की कमी हो रही है तो रोज फोन क्यों आते हैं कि लोन ले लो, लोन ले लो? बस ये है कि लोन लेंगे और फिर तुम, आपको, आपके गला घोंट देंगे, बढ़ाते जाएंगे इंटरेस्ट रेट्स। तो ये बात आप याद रखना, अगर भूल जाएं आपकी गलती है। बेवकूफ़ बनाने से ज़्यादा एक पॉइंट के बाद बेवकूफ़ बनने वाले की गलती होती है। दूसरी चीज़ ये कि सेविंग्स घटती जा रही है लोगों की, और वो घटने का मेजर कारण ये भी है कि लोगों ने अपने लोन्स को चुकाने के लिए अपनी सारी सेविंग्स दांव पे लगा दी। एक रिसर्च के अनुसार 19 साल में सबसे ज़्यादा रेट पे सेविंग रेट घटी है। अब इससे ज़्यादा कोई क्या कहे, आप समझदार हैं। बाय।